what do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God!
OJ Simpson kills those two people so hard, they stop making the Ford Bronco. I don't believe.
Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing? It is that time again. It is time for OJ Simpson Thursday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, however good it feels, and why ever you're doing it. I'm glad you're doing it with me. Okay, as those of you, the regular viewers who are probably the only ones here, well, I've got a very, very low number of people here today. Did everybody get an announcement that we were going? We've got about a third of what we usually have. Weird. Anyway, maybe people are just tired of it. We'll have to see what happens as we go along. There's 59 of you here. That is extraordinarily odd. Anywho, amongst the 69 of you now that are here, 45 of you have hit the like and subscribe button. So make sure you take that like and subscribe poll. Once you've done that, then you'll have satisfied your mission for the day. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, we need to do a little bit of housekeeping. First thing of housekeeping, again, welcome. Welcome to the mods that are here doing this. We've got things going. We're going to be doing this today for the next approximately 90 minutes, 86 minutes to be exact. And then we'll go over to the Zachariah Anderson trial for day 8 of that. And then Friday, we'll do the Zachariah Anderson trial. Monday, Maritime Monday, there will be no Maritime Monday. I've got something to do on Monday evening that I can't get out of. And I will most likely not be in any condition to do anything Maritime Monday related, but I will be home in time to do the Zachariah Anderson trial on Monday night. Not sure what condition I'll be in, but I'll be there. And then Tuesday, we'll do Maritime Monday on Tuesday, possibly. This weekend, though, because usually I plan my stuff over the weekend to do the Maritime Monday preparations over the weekend. This weekend, I will be heading up to Seoul, and Legal Mindset Andrew and I are going to be painting the town red for the weekend. We're going to cause some trouble and get up to some shenanigans in Seoul. Well, we'll shoot some video of that and upload it. That's why there might not even be a Maritime Tuesday this week. I just might be too busy over the weekend and then not enough time to prepare. We'll see. We'll just have to see what happens. So that's the sort of the week in preview, and we're going to keep following. This trial was supposed to be done tomorrow. On Friday, but we just all know that's not going to happen. The defense hasn't even begun to think about putting their case on yet. But so for the rest of today, let's just focus here on OJ Simpson, and then after OJ, we'll worry about the Zachariah Anderson trial. So to do our weekly duties, we've got to pull up the one, the only co-host, the extraordinary Chandler Remington, Lady in Red. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Krista Berg wrote a song about you.
Well, I'm very happy to be here this morning.
Well, we're very happy you're here too. You're rested. You're awake. You're ready to go.
Somehow, surprisingly and miraculously, yes, I am.
I don't know how you do it. I go to sleep about the time you wake up. But hey, more power to you because you are here. All right, this is just a really weirdly low viewership today. But anyway, that's the last I'll worry about that. If people come, they come. If they don't, see you next time. Concurrent viewers, we currently have 109 people and only 68 likes. So make sure you hit that like button. And if for some random reason, any of you 110 are not subscribed to the channel, please do me that favor and hit that subscribe button. And once you hit the subscribe button, or make sure you're still subscribed if you've already done that, hit that Like button. Take the poll. Take the like and subscribe poll. Today, again, fairly lame because it always is. I've run out of creativity. I stabbed the like and subscribe button for the fun of it, for the sheck of it, because Ito's no problem, man. And because it would be a crime not to. I'm lame. I apologize for the poll. Just shut up and follow the instructions. That's all you got to do. Okay, Chandler, what's up? I know it's like, how's your day been is a ridiculous question because it's like 5 o'clock in the morning and you've been awake for 6 minutes.
My day's been okay so far.
Good.
I have some sencha tea going, so that's always a lovely thing.
Well, you know what you need? You need some Dragon's Treasure tea. You need to order some Dragon's Treasure tea from thedragonstreasure.com.
Thank you for reminding me. I really wanted to try that. There was one that you were drinking a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember which one it was, but it sounded like it had like sort of a chai herbal blend, and it sounded really good.
Oh, they're all fantastic. At least all the one I've probably had 14 different teas at this point, and every single one of them are just a home run. Tonight we're having some candy cane tea. It's holiday black tea with candy cane pieces, flavorings, and peppermint.
So it sounds delicious. I love peppermint tea.
Oh, I do too. I'm a huge mint head. I just love mint. So yeah, that's the candy cane tea from the Dragon's Treasure. Every month there's 60 teas. It is like a big rotating stock. You rotate some in and out. It even has a monthly membership thing, but you can get them like 20-gram bags, 100-gram bags, and loose leaf or bagged. But the one thing you want to do when you go to thedragonstreasure.com, make sure when you order, you use code word Vices. Use code word Vices, you get 10% off.
And I mean, it would just be stupid not to do that. So
well, exactly. He gets a sale. You get 10% off, and I get a 5% kickback. And I just put that kickback right into buying more teas from him. So 3 wins for the price of 1.
It's a perfect system. Nothing could go wrong.
What could go wrong is Chandler Remington hasn't done it yet. She needs to watch the Goonies, and she needs to order some Dragon's Treasure tea from
I do have some stuff. I have some stuff on my to-do list, that's for sure.
Don't worry, people. We'll fix her. we'll get her sorted out here. All right. So with that impromptu grift out of the way, let's get just straight into this because we're on limited time. We've got 80 minutes left.
All right.
No super chats to read. No monthly membership announcements. So we're good to go. Let's bring up Mr. Dennis Fung, who is now in the morning of day 3 of his testimony, if memory serves me correctly. For us, it's part 10. For him, it's just like the middle of the first third of his testifying. Right. Let's see. Where's the view? Here's the view. Okay. OJ Thursday is getting ready to kick off. And for those of you, if there are any of you that are just joining us for the first time, rest assured, I'm not trying to convince anyone to change their mind about whether or not OJ did it. That ship sailed like 28 years ago. So all I want you to do, the only reason I'm doing, we've seen some really, really crappy trials recently. Not the last of which was the Murdoch trial. You get to see some crappy lawyering there. You get to see some bad things. Here, you get to see, from the defense perspective, some of the best cross-examination you will ever see in your entire life. And what we're doing now, going with BARRY SCHECK, as I've mentioned before, umpteen times. Umpteen is a good word. We need to keep using umpteen. As I've mentioned umpteen times, legal analysts, legal scholars, and trial court folks have said that this may be the single best cross-examination of any witness since the Clarence Darrow Scopes monkey trial case.
That's pretty historic. And I think anybody would be remiss to not watch this. I'm getting an education personally.
And the TLDR, we're just witnessing an 8.5 day fucking beat down of the LA criminologist. Yeah. Every question is just repeatedly punching him in the face. So
it's relentless and I love it.
And she's got the blood sport attitude. I like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have my opinions about OJ Simpson and I have my opinions about the verdict, but you can't argue with good lawyering. You just can't. I mean, literally, you can't argue with it because the lawyer will just argue right back and beat your ass to the ground.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's Barry Schcheck, who is one of the co-founders of Project Innocence, together with Peter Neufeld, who is also on the Simpson jury. And this is at the dawn. This is 1995. This is at the dawn of DNA evidence. This is the very, very earliest stages. Fedorovsky says, Jeff sounds like Ron White when he says fucking like that. Nice. Okay. I'll take
you. I'm hearing it now.
That's a big compliment, but all right. Thanks. So, wow. The best compliment I've ever been paid in my life.
You gotta wipe away the tears, Jeff. You gotta push through this. We have OJ to get through. So this is as I was saying, was the dawn of DNA evidence. It was so early that during the opening statements, Marcia Clark, she was trying to explain DNA evidence to the jury, and she was describing it in terms of the brand new movie that had just been released, Jurassic Park. So it's like, yeah, it's just like in Jurassic Park, you know. But yeah, so this is the ancient days, 1995, summer 95. This trial started the second half of my 2L year and finished up the end of the first half of my 3L year, and took away my vacation that year because I was just watching this. And where we left, yeah. You'll somewhere during your law school career, you'll have a trial that you'll remember. I know that I'll remember the Depp trial forever, because that definitely changed me for sure. I mean, I joined Twitter because of the Depp trial, and subsequently all of the interesting opportunities that I have been afforded as a result of that have culminated in me being here today. So definitely. I'm sure there will be more trials though.
Oh yeah. People will continue to commit crimes and be charged with crimes. I started doing all this YouTube thing in the middle of the Johnny Depp trial, not because of the Johnny Depp trial, but just because I got really drunk with Legal Mindset Andrew one too many times, and he convinced me that, hey, people would like to hear what you have to say. You should invest a bunch of money in a computer and just start talking. And after enough alcohol on enough occasions, somehow started to make sense, and that's why I'm here.
It seems like it's working out pretty well for you so far. Yeah. You're at what, 36,000 subscribers? Ish.
We're like 544 or something like that last time I checked, which is a good thing. But
okay,
I mean, everybody
watching
here
who's not subscribed right now has to subscribe immediately, because if you don't, I'm going to be very mad at you.
Yeah, you'll make Chandler cry.
It'll happen. I mean,
in fact, two people have abandoned me.
I'm not exactly a crier, but I might tear up a little bit.
Oh.
I would be emotional over it.
Okay.
I'd rather cry happy tears. I'd rather celebrate 50K with you.
Well, whenever that happens, you will be. That's my gig. 50,000. We're basically 14,450 away from it. Whenever 50,000 happens, I'm going to do a 24-hour stream and just have everybody on.
Oh, I'll be there for a lot of that, I'm sure. Yeah. I'll be in and out, but I will be drinking a lot.
And once you stop drinking, you can start YouTubing. Oh no! Those are not mutually exclusive things. Under no situation are those mutually exclusive. But before we waste too much more time, I've already wasted 13 minutes here. I wish I could go back in time and tell people that if they're just joining now to skip 13 minutes ahead. But hey, we already started. So where we left off with Dennis Fung last week was he was getting pounded in the face with more questions about his evidence gathering techniques, and they were just about ready to switch gears into a new frame of devastation for him. And where they're wrapping this up is he was collecting things and putting them in envelopes and not labeling the envelopes for a very long time after he gathered them. And that's where we're gonna pick up here. Let's see. We got everything all lined up. Have we embiggened it? Now it's embiggened. And are you ready, Chandler?
Oh, yes. I'm definitely ready.
Well, let's get after it.
Or a tracking device.
Tracking device. And then the barcode on the package of evidence is hit with one of those light pens.
All right, folks. How are we volume-wise? Say hi, Chandler.
And the purpose of those operations is to try to create some kind of tracking record as to the fact that you have gone to ECU to take out a piece of evidence. for analysis.
It does make a record, yes.
And then when you finish your analysis, you would return it to the ECU, and a similar procedure is performed.
Yes.
And it is by that method that, to your understanding, items of evidence are tracked at SID.
That's one of the methods.
Now, with respect to the evidentiary items in this case, they weren't the ones you collected at Bundy on June 13th. They were not booked until June 16th.
That's correct.
So he collected the evidence and didn't book them into evidence until 3 days later.
That's standard operating procedure with LAPD forensics, apparently, at this time.
Well, and this is on the tail of him testifying that the manual says that you should never put wet items into sealed plastic bags or put them in hot temperatures. And he essentially stuck blood evidence into sealed plastic bags and put them in a back of an evidence van in the middle of the LA summer. And he just left them there in the van, even though he literally put them down right in front of a refrigerator that's in the van because the refrigerator didn't work all the time. So that's where we're picking him up. So they stuff sits in the van in the heat, gets degraded, it gets booked into evidence. 3 days after he picks it up. Problems. And because they didn't have all of these proper tagging and tracking marks, there's a period of time, this 3-day period, or however long that it is for each individual piece of evidence, where it cannot be completely and accurately accounted for. So during the time that it was collected until it was booked, some of it could have gone missing. Some of the blood evidence could have gone missing. Some of it could have been planted places. And that's what we talked about also just before this round of testimony. There was pictures taken of the back gate of OJ Simpson's residence, the Bundy residence. And no, wait, sorry, that was the Bundy residence was Nicole Brown Simpson's place. They took pictures of the back gate. There's no spot on it. They went back 2 weeks later, and miraculously, there's a spot of blood on this gate that was not there 2 weeks ago. So, and
that blood had anticoagulants in it that were not. Let's say that it's not in the human body naturally.
So yeah, the stuff that they used to preserve blood in the crime lab showed up in this drop of blood that mysteriously appeared 2 weeks later at the back gate of the Bundy residence. And that's what he's been hounded on and hammered on, and now they're going to move on.
No, Rockfield,
yeah.
not
Final
Bundy.
booking was not until June 16th.
In other words, this process of taking the package with the barcode on it and handing it to the person at ECU was not done until June 16th.
The Bundy crime scene.
I did not do that until June 16th because my property reports were not written or completed until that time.
But the point is, sir, that until June 16th, these items were not put into that computer tracking system at SID.
They couldn't be because the property report wasn't prepared yet.
They couldn't be because they had not yet been formally booked, or to use your phrase, finally booked.
They were not placed into ECU at that time.
And by placing them into ECU and having at least the barcode put on it and the evidence tracking procedure begun, that's what's ordinarily meant by final booking, to use your phrase.
Final booking, yes.
On the evening of June 13th, the swatches from Bundy had been placed in test tubes.
Yes.
Yes.
The swatches from Rockingham had been placed in test tubes.
Yes.
They were put inside coin envelopes.
Yes.
They were laid in a cardboard box top, laid down.
They were lit. It was more than one box top, but yes.
Those box tops were put in a cabinet in the evidence processing room.
Yes.
That cabinet was unlocked.
The cabinet was unlocked. However, the door to
Was
the
the
evidence
cabinet
processing
unlocked?
room was locked.
Wait. You need to let him finish the answer.
Well, I thought he did, and he
No,
was
he was-
volunteering, Your Honor.
Well, then there's an appropriate motion, and don't interrupt me either,
My apologies. I'd move to strike the last part of his answer.
as being non-responsive.
Yes.
Yes, granted. Jury is to disregard the last part of the answer. Proceed. Question was the cabinet locked or unlocked?
Was the cabinet locked, yes or no?
There is no lock on the cabinet.
So no is the answer. It's the final booking.
When you
Nice,
received
Copus.
the blood vials from Detective Van Adder on December 15th, withdraw. My apologies. Got the wrong year, the wrong month.
Take a deep breath.
Okay. On June 15th, you received some blood vials
Yes, KT.
from Mr. Yamauchi.
Yes.
A blood vial containing whole blood from Miss Nicole Brown Simpson.
That's one of the vials.
A blood vial containing whole blood from Ron Goldman.
Yes.
These vials, when you received them from Mr. Yamauchi, did they have blood streaking over the top of the vial on paper that was covering the vial?
I don't recall.
On the morning of June 14th, you came to the lab.
Yes.
You arrived around when?
Between 7:30 and 8.
And when you got there at 7:30, did you meet with someone?
Met with several people.
Who did you meet with?
I saw Criminalist Mazzola that morning.
You mean trainee Mazzola?
Detective Lang. Criminalist Yamauchi. And Mr. Matheson. To name a few.
I'm sorry?
To name a few.
Anyone else that you can recall?
Not that pertains to the case.
Well, just tell us who else was there, whether they pertain to the case or not.
Well, it's irrelevant. He's referring to the entire laboratory.
Oh, there were many people in the laboratory, and I saw many of them.
This meeting that you had at around 7:30 occurred in the evidence processing room?
No. I'm not exactly sure where. Some of the. I saw Detective Lang in the serology unit.
So there's a separate room for the serology unit. It's a laboratory room.
Yes.
And that contains a separate freezer for the serology unit.
The serology unit does have a freezer, yes.
All right. And that's a separate room from this evidence control unit where items are booked, correct?
Where the booking process takes place, yes.
And after items are received in the evidence control unit, there's a freezer where they might be stored.
Could you repeat that?
The evidence control unit has a number of different places where items of evidence are stored.
Yes.
There are shelves where items of evidence are stored.
Yes.
There is a freezer where biological evidence is stored.
Yes.
There is a refrigerator unit where things such as whole blood vials that contain whole blood are stored.
Yes.
In this case, there was actually an ordinary kind of locker where certain items of evidence in this case were stored.
Are we talking about the evidence control unit or the
Yes.
evidence processing room?
Evidence control unit.
I don't know where the evidence was stored once I placed it into, put it into their custody.
But what I've just described is one whole unit where the final booking procedures take place, the evidence control unit. Right?
Yes.
Now there's a separate place called the serology laboratory.
Yes.
And in the serology laboratory, there is a separate freezer where items are kept when serologists are working on them.
I don't know what is kept in the serology freezer.
Right.
I haven't worked that unit.
But you're saying that on the morning of June 14th, you saw Detective Lang in the serology lab.
He was there, yes.
Was he there when you got there?
I'm not sure.
He could have been.
He could have been.
And who else was with him, if anyone?
I don't recall.
So you had a meeting, the first meeting you recall took place in the serology laboratory with Detective Lang?
I don't know if it was the first, but it was one of the meetings.
All right. Where else did meetings take place that morning at around 7:30?
Well, I can't say if it was at 7:30 or not, but I can tell you different meetings that occurred that morning.
If you can, sir, give us your best recollection of who you met with and where you met with them from the moment you arrived at the serology lab on the morning of June 14th.
That's over.
Sustain, rephrase the question.
Can you tell us who you met with and where you met with them when you first arrived at the serology laboratory on the morning of June 14th?
In the serology lab, Detective Lang, Mr. Matheson, and criminalist Yamauchi were present.
And
Okay.
you had a discussion at that time? All of
Yes.
you? You discussed the items of evidence in this case?
To the best of my recollection, yes.
Detective Lang indicated which items he wanted analyzed first?
I don't know if he was involved in that, in specifying which items he wanted to be analyzed.
Do you recall Detective Lang indicating that he wanted the blood drops found at Bundy analyzed right away?
He may have said something to that effect.
And you took away from that conversation,
I'll make a motion to strike this answer. It's calling for speculation. No foundation.
Overruled. Overruled. So you may have said something to that.
do you recall whether Detective Lang was indicating with some urgency that he wanted the blood drops at Bundy analyzed right away?
It's asked and answered.
Overruled.
He wanted a priority put on it.
Did he want a priority put on the analysis of the Rockingham glove?
I don't recall if that was one of the items he specified or not.
Was there an agreement at that meeting as to what items should be analyzed immediately?
At some point in the morning, it was decided what items would be analyzed, but I don't know at exactly what time or if Detective Lang was present or not.
Did there come a time that you went to the evidence processing room that morning?
Yes.
Was that after this meeting in the serology lab?
Yes.
And around what time did you enter the evidence processing room?
Approximately 9:30, somewhere in there.
Now, all these questions may seem boring and, inane. What room were you in? Who were you talking to? What were you talking about? But again, this is how Barry Scheck works. He's asking these questions, and it's like casting out a wide net where, okay, fish goes in, doesn't see anything wrong, just sees these basic questions, but each question is pulling in this net tighter and tighter and tighter until he's forced to make a bunch of really, really bad and unhelpful admissions. So bear with these questions. They're not for no reason or without purpose.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but they're foundational, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
he's building foundation to go down a specific line of questioning.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to do that, but it's a slow burn. I like a slow burn. I have patience for a slow burn.
And that's why it took 8.5 days from the stamps, because they were all slow burns. And
God, you would think he was the one. You'd think he was the one who murdered somebody. You would think he committed this double homicide. I mean, that's longer than Alex Murdaugh was on the stand. That's for sure.
It's longer than most anybody's ever been on the stand.
Poor fun.
Burning. Speaking of burning, slow burning, bunning sensations. FYI, I had to resub today. Was subbed yesterday. YouTube gremlins. See, it's a thing. People think, you're just chilling for more subs. I'm saying YouTube just randomly unsubscribes people, and I get these emails. Sometimes I'll wake up and there'll be 20, 30 subscribers that are just gone, all at the same time. Weirdly. So if you have subscribed, just please make sure you're still subscribed, and then if you haven't, please do. Now, Christy Yamaguchi, the skater, WTF even is this timeline? Well, JKD Buck 76, I hate to tell you this, but that actually fits perfectly in this timeline. The Simpson, these two murders were committed in 1994. The Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding thing that allowed Christy Yamaguchi to proceed with her career essentially happened in 1994. The knee whacking happened in 1994, same year. So it's not out of time. The timeline is intact. Unhung Hero, thank you so much for the first super chat of the day. Morning, Brandon Conglomerate here. Getting you funged up yet? Nope.
Me personally, I have a 6-shot debt from yesterday that I have to fulfill. But it's a little early, so I'm gonna wait until we get into the Anderson trial, and probably until I head over to Hayden's stream. I loved Hayden yesterday. He was just like, "Oh, I have to drive my wife somewhere, so I can only do 3 shots this morning."
It's all about the control.
Yeah.
And speaking of control, let's watch Fung try to control his bladder.
Have you looked at any records to refresh your recollection as to when you might have entered the evidence processing room before you came to testify?
Yes, however, I don't remember the time.
Have you gone over these events with some care with the prosecution?
Yes.
A number of times.
Hinting at it strongly.
I wouldn't say a number of times, but we have gone over it.
All right, around 9 or 9:30, you recall going to the evidence processing
Huey
room.
Lewis blast, that's nice.
It's the evidence.
Oh,
Is that right?
that's about the time, yes.
And Ms. Mazzola was there as well.
I don't recall.
Well, was it about this time that you began to remove the swatches from the test tubes, you and Ms. Mazzola?
It was in that time frame, yes.
All right. What about the sneakers that Detective Lang brought on the morning of June 14th? Did you receive those in the evidence processing room?
No.
You received those in the serology lab?
To the best of my recollection, yes.
He had those with him in the serology lab when you arrived?
I believe so.
What about the Rockingham glove? Was the Rockingham glove in the serology lab when you arrived?
No.
When you went to the evidence processing room at around 9:30, did you perform some analysis on the Rockingham glove?
Well, did you?
Didn't do any analysis, no.
Well, did you not remove a hair from the Rockingham glove?
Yes, I did.
Was that one of the first things you did? Was that the first thing you did when you got into the evidence processing room that morning?
I don't recall what the order of events was.
So you don't recall whether or not you removed the hair from the Rockingham glove before or after the process began of removing the swatches from the test tube?
They were done at different times.
But you don't recall the order?
No, I don't.
And at some point that morning, before you left to go search the Bronco at the print shed, you poured off some blood from Mr. Simpson's blood vial.
No.
Well, did you participate in pouring off some blood from Mr. Simpson's blood vial with Mr. Yamauchi?
No.
Did you give Mr. Simpson's blood vial to Mr. Yamauchi on the morning of June 14th?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember when you did that? In terms of the order of what withdrawn. Let's start it this way. Did you hand Mr. Yamauchi Mr. Simpson's blood vial in the evidence processing room?
I gave him the package.
You gave him the package.
Well,
The gray
good
envelope,
morning,
yes.
Mr. Yamauchi.
Was the gray envelope sealed?
Not at that point.
Did you reach in and take out the blood vial and hand it to Mr. Yamauchi?
I gave him the package.
Were you present when Mr. Yamauchi took the blood vial out of the package?
I don't recall if I saw him do that or not.
Now, at some point in the evidence processing room, Mr. Yamauchi began cutting samples out of the Rockingham glove.
I don't know that.
You didn't see that?
I don't recall seeing that.
All right, Mr. Scheck, I think this would be a good point to change court reporters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief recess at this time. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case, allow anybody to communicate with you, or conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Mr. Fung, you may step down. We'll be in recess for 15 minutes.
Oh, there we go. That was 15 minutes just now. Thank you so much for this super chat. Law and Order fan here. What's the difference between what this lawyer is doing and fishing? He's not fishing for anything. He knows the answer to these questions before he asks them. He's asking them for a specific purpose. And as I said, it's like a net. Each question pulls the net in a little bit tighter, pins him down to seemingly random evidence, random statements he's making. He's getting pinned down to the point where he can't back out of it. When the serious, meaty questions get asked. It's not a fishing expedition where you're throwing out questions hoping the guy will say something that you can latch onto. He is extracting this information from Mr. Fung.
Right. All of this would have to be either in previous testimony or in discovery. So all of the questions that he's asking, they're all evidentiary. They've all been, it's all stuff that both lawyers are aware of. So the answers to those questions, that's something that the prosecution also knows about. So in order to be fishing, it's sort of a different thing. It's asking for stuff that's not in evidence, not, that the attorneys are not privy to yet.
And he very much follows the admonition of not asking a question you don't know the answer to. He knows what he's doing.
He's very good. He's very good.
Let's see where he goes with this, because we're back from our 15-minute break.
All right. Thank you, counsel. Mr. Scheck, you may resume.
Thank you very much, Ron. Mr. Fung, just before we broke, we were discussing your activities on the morning of June 14th at SID.
Yes.
And you indicated at one point that you had refreshed your recollection by looking at some records with respect to
Pink
where
Floyd,
you
The
were
Wall,
at
Rush
particular
2112,
times that morning.
albums like that, records like that.
Yes.
What records did you look at?
There's
Mamas and the
a
Papas.
card system in the laboratory that keeps a record of when people go in and out of certain areas of the laboratory. And those records are what I referred to.
You mean a computer printout of some kind?
Yes.
And Mr. Goldberg showed you a copy of that?
Yes.
Mr. Fung,
Are you stupid?
I noticed that on direct
Have you
examination,
ever been in a Turkish prison?
you were not asked whether Detective Furman showed you 4 red stains on the bottom exterior of the Bronco door on the morning of June 13th.
Sustained. It's not a question, counsel. It's testifying. The jury is to disregard that last question. Ask a question, Mr. Scheck.
Nice.
Okay, random question here that needs to be addressed because it comes up every week. I should make like an OJ Simpson FAQ. Where did it go? Scrolling.
I think a frequently asked questions list would be excellent.
But nobody'd read it, so I'm not going to waste my time. Feral Housewife. Again, I just love that. I love that nickname. Feral Housewife says, "What's with all the hourglasses?" See, this is about the time in the trial when Ito started to shift into I'm a superstar, running a superstar case mode. When he became I'm the judge, he started to be more media savvy and do a little more things. What happened was early in the trial, someone found out that he liked hourglasses. And so viewers of the trial started sending him hourglasses. They started sending the judge in the trial hourglasses. And as they came in, he added them to his collection. So all of those hourglasses on his desk are ones that trial viewers have mailed to him as gifts.
Yeah, he was kind of a media whore, or so
Yeah.
people said. I have seen evidence of it, and I kind of think with the hourglass thing, it's a little bit show-offy. A little bit.
This was sort of the dawn of the media horror time.
I mean, it was the trial of the century. You know, the whole world was watching. People would, like take off of work just to like stay home and watch the OJ trial, pretty much, according to I think Harvey Levin. Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal, and it went on for 9 months. He said,
Yeah,
thereabouts.
Yeah, the
So,
jury was
that's a long
sequestered
time.
for 9 months, like 265 days, 256 days, something like that. The jury was sequestered. Ugh. Walter Van Boon, is this live?
Well, it was live at the time.
Yeah. Yes, that is pretty cringe. But that is what he did. These are things that the people have sent him. Yep.
I made a dumb joke last week, I think, about like if he turned over the hourglasses, one by one and let them run out, they probably Fung would probably still have time on the stand by the end of that.
Oh yeah. Oh dear. All right. Feral Housewife says I need to go back and watch all of these trial streams from OJ. Well, this is part 25 today, so enjoy that. It'll take some time. But
I highly recommend that you do go back through the series, and the episodes aren't very long, so you can just stream them one by one and catch up.
Yeah, it's all about 50, 60 hours, somewhere around there total.
Jeff has laid it out for you in a very lovely way. So
and I'm witty and fun to watch.
Yeah, and then eventually I come into the picture, so
Yeah.
I add a little element of whatever I bring.
You bring everything.
Aw.
Except for brains to Mr. Fung.
Yeah, I can't help him here, unfortunately.
All right. Well, let's see how he do how let's watch him die some more on the stand.
Were you asked on direct examination, if you recall, about whether Detective Furman showed you 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door on the morning of June 13th?
No, gentlemen.
As phrased, that's correct. Sustained. Ask him if the events occurred on June the 13th, not whether or not he was asked the questions. That's irrelevant.
Right. Have you spent in your preparation time with prosecutors some hours discussing the issue of whether or not 4 red stains were seen by you on the morning of June 13th on the exterior of the Bronco door?
I wouldn't say hours. I wouldn't even say 1 hour. I wouldn't even say more than 5 minutes.
The issue, however, arose.
Yes.
All right. Was there any discussion with you as to whether or not you should discuss the question of whether you saw 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door on the morning of June 13th?
I don't understand that question.
Was there any discussion of whether or not you should testify on direct examination as to whether or not you saw 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door on the morning of June 13th?
I don't know, or I didn't tell Mr. Goldberg, and he didn't tell me that he would be asking me those questions specifically.
What?
So in other words, in your review sessions for your direct examination, you did not anticipate being asked that question on direct.
Sustained.
You testified at the preliminary hearing in this case on July 6th and July 7th.
Yes.
Prior to your testimony on July 6th, do you recall that Detective Furman testified on July 5th?
I know that he testified before me, but to the date, I'm not exactly sure.
Do you recall that prior to your testimony at the preliminary hearing, Detective Furman testified that he did not direct you or a photographer to take any pictures of 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door?
I don't recall any of his testimony from the preliminary hearing.
Are you aware at this trial, Detective Furman testified that he did show you 4 red stains at the bottom exterior of the Bronco door on the morning of June 13th?
That mistakes the testimony.
Sustained.
Are you aware that Detective Furman testified at this trial that he directed your attention to 3 or 4 little marks, little lines, translucent red on the door sill of the driver's door on June 13th?
I don't know what his testimony was.
No one told you from the district attorney's office that he testified to that effect at this trial?
No.
Did any detective tell you that Detective Furman had testified to this jury about showing you those 4 lines at the bottom of the Bronco door before you came in here to testify?
No.
Did anyone at the crime lab tell you about it?
Your Honor, it assumes facts not in evidence. It also mistakes the testimony.
Overruled.
No, he's asking about it. He didn't assume any facts.
Your Honor, counsel's going to read.
If you want to consult the testimony, it's at page 18550 of the direct.
Proceed.
That's page 18,550 if you're keeping
Okay,
score.
Mr. Fung, let me ask you directly. On June 13th, in the morning, did Detective Furman point out 4 red lines, red stains, to you on the bottom of the Bronco door?
I don't recall him doing so.
When you say you don't recall, are you saying it didn't happen?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't recall if he did or if he didn't.
Right?
That's a damn cop-out right there.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot going on at OJ's house. There was the glove, there was the blood on the Bronco, and a few other things going on there. So yeah, so he did. Basically. I think that answer is an absolute cop-out.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't ring true to you, is what you're saying, Chandler.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the Murdoch testimony a little bit, where they asked him about specific aspects of his financial crimes, and he said, well, Mr. Waters, I'm not saying that it did or it didn't happen, but if that's what it says in the record, then I trust that you're reading it to me accurately. It's like, it's not a bad answer to that question, but it doesn't inspire faith that he's being truthful.
Well, I mean, of course, the logical question is, well, then how did you know about the blood on the door?
Yes, which
Who
I'm
told
looking
you?
forward to. I mean, because what I love about this is that it's like he's caught. It's like Fung is like this little insect, and he's got one leg caught in the spider's web, and he's trying to yank it free, and then another leg gets trapped. And I'm looking forward to seeing the total engulfment of this man in silk thread.
And Two Soup says, OJ becomes such a murder trial expert that I value his opinion on the Murdoch trial. That was so stupid.
Did you see that, Jeff?
Yes.
I was gonna send it to you. I sent it to for some reason I
Lord.
forgot to send it to you. And I love how he commented like before and after the verdict.
Yeah. Oh Lord. KT says, wow, that was dark. your fly trapped in the web analogy.
I mean, nature is inspiringly dark at times.
Yeah. And Advocate says, to be fair, the longer Fung is on the stand, the better the LAPD gets at doing investigations. No, absolutely correct. That's a lot of people laughed and ha-ha to this, but that's actually true. Dennis Fung's testimony led to major changes across the country in evidence handling.
Yeah, and I'm sure for LAPD, it was largely, how do I put this? A PR-based move. I mean, okay, not that I know this for sure, but the optics were fucking terrible for the LAPD. I mean, this trial exposed so many, lousy, flimsy practices, and for the police department of a major city with a lot of crime, you would think that one should expect better. I'm glad that things changed, but oh my God, it just exposed all of the way. I mean, think about all the other cases that occurred before OJ, all the other things that LAPD mishandled that we don't know about, and that this was the standard, especially in a high-profile criminal case that they were aware of, that this is how they handled evidence here, knowing the circumstances.
Right.
It's mind-blowing.
And Mike May says, I've got to say, you bring knowledge, but most of all, you bring beauty to the stream. Thanks. And Chandler's pretty good, too. I'm sorry, bro, but I'm not attracted to you. I am to her, though. Good luck with that, Mike.
Well, that's very sweet.
It's very sweet. Good luck.
It's always nice to get validation from strangers on the internet. Yeah. I'm not even lying. Especially this early in the morning. I'm like, okay, at least I don't look like death. So I'm glad to Thank you, Mike.
Oh dear, Swan Lake lady from just over the hill from my hometown. May I email you news about an article about a sovereign citizen from Farmington who played a stupid game with police officers and won a very, very stupid prize? Of course you can. Go and do that, Swan Lake lady. Look forward to getting back to your neck of the woods in August.
Anytime a sovereign citizen manages to, successfully work through their endeavors, that's always fascinating. I'm sure to a maritime attorney especially.
Sounds like this one died from what she is saying.
Oh. Well, maybe it is. Maybe I need another cup of tea. It's a little early.
Well, it says played a stupid game with cops and won a very, very stupid prize. So.
Oh, okay. It's that early where I'm like, oh, he won. So
there better at least be tasers involved. All right, let's get back to this here.
If you had seen 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door on the morning of June 13th, you would have taken a photograph of them, would you not?
That would depend, but I don't know. But that would depend on the circumstances.
Let's try these circumstances. You were pointed out a red stain by the door handle.
Yes.
You were photographed pointing to that red stain, correct?
Yes.
And you're the person that's supposed to direct the photographer during the collection process.
Yes.
You're supposed to photograph items of evidence of some importance that are pointed out to you by the detectives.
Yes.
In the circumstances of this case, if you had seen 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door, would you not have directed the photographer to take a picture of it?
It would be likely, yes.
If you had seen 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door, would you have not done a presumptive test on June 13th?
Possibly. If it was necessary, I would have.
If you had seen 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door, would you have not swatched them?
I would possibly have swatched them.
If you had seen 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door, would you not have included that observation in your reports for that day?
That was random.
If I thought it was important to the investigation, I would have included it in my notes, yes.
Looking back at the circumstances of this case, would not those 4 red stains have been an important detail that you would have certainly included in your notes?
Also speculation.
Oh. From my perspective now,
Let's try your perspective then.
I don't recall my exact state of mind.
That's the implication.
I don't know exactly if I would have put it down or not.
On June 14th, you conducted this examination of the Bronco at the print shed.
Yes.
And you were looking for any evidence of blood in the Bronco.
I was looking for blood evidence, yes.
Red stains.
Yes.
You got on your hands and knees with a flashlight and examined the exterior area of that door sill.
I did examine the area of the door sill. I don't know if I was on my hands and knees.
Don't you recall a picture of you with the flashlight on your hands and knees looking at a red stain just inside the interior of the Bronco?
I may have been squatting, but I wasn't on my hands and knees.
All right.
Well, you just said you didn't remember if you were on your hands and knees, like literally
Yeah.
3 seconds
All right, I'd
ago.
like to display a picture now that
Can I just-
shows the prosecution.
Yes.
Can I just say that this line of questioning is veering dangerously into the territory of, were you on all fours in doggy style getting ready for me to totally ream you?
Oh no. There's an image I didn't need in my head.
Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. He's destroying this man. And it's like,
Yeah.
were you on all? I can't, I'm sorry.
Well, Donald Gooch here to Mike Tython. Admittedly, if the glove doesn't fit, OJ is probably spreading his hands and leather shrinks after many months, and why that shit should trump the mountains of evidence to convict. But it does, because that's what the jury sees.
Yeah.
It was the prosecution that told him to put on that glove.
And anybody who knows anything about fabrics, particularly leather will shrink when it gets wet. I have a friend who wore leather boots.
Yeah.
You can't wear leather boots out in the rain. They will wrinkle, they will shrink. If they're saturated with blood, it will draw all the moisture out of the leather and it will constrict. And there were some reports of like he had an arthritis medication that he didn't take and his hands swole up or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, they didn't look like they fit when he was trying them on. They definitely looked too small for him.
The defense Jedi mind tricked the prosecution into doing it.
Yeah.
Johnny Cochran said, if you don't, we're going to do it. And so that was Chris Darden, his moment of hubris. Well, no way, we're going to make him do it. And he instructed him how to put that glove on. He gave him very specific instructions how he wanted OJ to put that glove on. The fact that the prosecution didn't consider the leather shrinking, the wet leather shrinking as it dried, that he was also wearing surgical gloves, and that he had arthritis, that was a huge mistake. And what the jury sees, and what's pounded into their head over and over again, the glove that was part of the murder doesn't fit on his hands. So it couldn't have been him. That was a brilliant argument. It's one that, and rather than the 2 boring weeks of very, very interesting DNA testimony, if you understand that, which, this was just brand new technology. If you go back and watch it, it's kind of interesting, but you've got them, they're getting this just tons and tons and tons of numbers and ratios and probabilities and things thrown at them, and how they do all the DNA testing. And then it just takes one guy to go, look, the glove that the murderer was wearing doesn't fit on my client. That's a huge nail in the coffin.
The visual aspect of that was something that the jurors could understand much more easily, much more readily. I mean, it's, that is something anybody will see that and understand immediately what it means. Unfortunately, CSI Miami was not on the air at the time of this trial. And so, I mean, CSI actually, from my understanding, really improved people's understanding of how DNA works, how infallible blood evidence is. Unfortunately, prosecution could not make it palatable or digestible enough for the jurors.
And Donald Gooch again says he's literally wearing gloves while he tries to put on gloves to see if they fit. Right? But it was the prosecution that did it.
Yep.
It was the prosecution that told him to do that. So that's all on the prosecution. And again, like I said at the beginning, in case you missed it, I'm not doing this to change anybody's mind, whether he did it or didn't do it. Everybody has their mind made up. I'm showing you how amazing cross-examination of witnesses can lead to, whether he did it or not, jurors having a reasonable doubt as to whether he did it.
Yeah, it's also a really good lesson in making sure that if you are part of a murder investigation, you dot your I's and cross your T's, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have had him try on those gloves at any point before that moment, but they never did.
And ultimately, there were so many failures. There were failures from all of these witnesses. I mean, Dennis Fung legitimately fucked up. He legitimately, caused a lot of problems and was potentially a participant in framing OJ Simpson, for this crime or planting evidence. And I'm not saying that he was framed, but you know what I mean? It's, there were a lot of screw ups. And then unfortunately,
you put on Mark Furman, who is who's an avowed racist who lies about using N-words and brags to other people about creating and framing black people and taking them into back alleys and working out some stress and doing whatever it takes to plant evidence or do something to find it guilty if there's ever a black man with a white woman. Why they put him on is just utterly beyond me. But anyway, we're digressing.
Jeff, Mark wasn't a terrible person. He did have some nice hobbies. He collected World War II medals, remember?
Yeah, he did do that.
Anyway.
But we're going back. We can all go back and watch those if you want. But this is just to show how a skilled litigator, especially some of the best defense lawyers walking planet Earth then or now, F. Lee Bailey and Barry Schcheck, can put the idea of reasonable doubt in the minds of a juror. That's what we're doing here, just to show their trial techniques, not to change anybody's mind one way or the other. If it happens, it happens. But we're doing it for trial technique.
It's making me want to become a defense attorney. So there's that.
Well, cool. Well, let's see how well it goes here for the next, about 15 minutes?
I'd ask this to be marked defendants next in order, although I believe there may be a picture of it.
1097.
1097. Is this not a picture of you holding a flashlight, examining the door sill area of the Bronco on June 14th at the print shed?
I think in that particular photograph, I am indicating to the photographer where I want him to locate his shot, and that would be where the card is. I can't read the number from here.
Did you not examine the door sill area at the print shed on June 14th?
Yes, I did.
That is true. Norm Macdonald got fired from Saturday Night Live because he wouldn't stop doing OJ jokes.
On the door sill area, right where the door is opening.
John, that's not too far from what I believe.
I don't think that's marked with identification.
Yes, 1097.
Listen to the dot matrix printer printing things out. Oh, hey, for those of you keeping score at home, we don't see him in the lawyer gallery very much. This guy right back here behind the Elmo. We've all become acquainted with Elmo in the Murdoch case and in the Anderson case we're doing now. This is Elmo's granddaddy here, also named Elmo. But back here, the guy with the little white in his hair, that is the father of the Kardashian clan. That is Robert Kardashian.
Kim's that's dad. Robert Kardashian. Oh, I think I mixed him up with one of the other attorneys.
Yeah, that back there, that is Robert Kardashian. Father of Kim, possibly the father of Chloe. Rumors. Here's rumors, but assumed to be the father of Kim. So anyway, for those
heard those rumors, yes.
Rumor has it there maybe some OJ blood in that family.
Well, what about Courtney? Courtney's a Kardashian daughter, right?
Yeah.
There were the three sisters, and then there's the Jenner ones.
Yeah, the Jenner ones. Yeah, but anywho, so no, that's a hologram of Robert. Yeah. Anywho,
I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, I was just curious. So I see in the gallery there are people who are. It looks like they have like a pink kind of ribbon on their lapel. What's that about?
I don't know.
Could that be members of Nicole's family potentially? Wearing it in solidarity for Nicole.
Could be, but most of them are sitting behind the prosecution table.
Oh,
unless it spills over. I don't know. I honestly just never noticed that.
Wait, it looks
probably solidarity thing.
It's hard to tell. Yeah. All right. Just curious.
Well, Chloe's dad is in their room at least.
Yeah.
Good point. Maybe.
That's a good point. Chat is funny today.
Rumors. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought I'd point that out in case it was something you didn't know. That is Robert Kardashian, entertainment lawyer extraordinaire. Rest in peace, I guess. And the father of the Kardashian clan. It's his fault. It's all his fault. Let's continue.
Is it his fault? Really?
It's his fault. There's Kardashians everywhere.
Oh,
on TV and tormenting us.
That's what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's his fault we have Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Fung, do you see 4 red stains on the door sill of that Bronco in this picture?
Your Honor, I'll object to if you can see the exterior doors of this picture.
Overruled.
It's washed out. The white area is very washed out. You can't even make any detail out in any of that portion.
Well, whose fault is that?
On June 14th, when you examined the Bronco, did you see 4 red stains on the door sill of the Bronco?
I object to counsel's tone of voice. I also object because this does not refer to the area that was related to the testimony.
I object to that objection. It's a speaking objection, Your Honor.
It is a speaking objection. Proceed.
My question to you, sir. On June 14th, did you see 4 red stains anywhere on the exterior of the Bronco door?
Porcelain Thunder, most of them are still alive.
There were stains present, but I did not collect them.
It's your testimony, sir, that you saw on June 14th, June 14th, at the print shed, 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door.
That's not what I said.
Sustain.
On June 14th, did you see 4 red stains on the exterior door sill of this Bronco?
I don't know if I saw 4 red stains.
Did you see
If
3?
you had seen 4 red stains on the morning of June 14th, would you not have directed the photographer to take a picture of it?
If they were heavy enough stains, then I would have, yes.
Is it your testimony that you saw 4 red stains on June 14th, but you didn't think they were heavy enough, and therefore you did not direct the photographer to take a picture?
There was quite a bit of blood, quite a bit of light staining around the driver compartment of the vehicle. and I only directed the photographer to concentrate on the heavier stains.
It's not my question. My question, sir, is it your testimony that you saw 4 red stains on the exterior of the Bronco door on June 14th, but you thought they were not heavy enough, and therefore you did not direct the photographer to take a picture? Is that what happened?
I don't know if there were 4 or not.
Was there 3? Was there 2?
Number
Was there
4 is
1?
the problem with the yes or no.
3 on the exterior of the Bronco?
I don't recall the number.
You don't recall?
Did you see some fucking blood?
It's like when the Borg was interrogating Picard. There are 4 stains.
That's twice through this witness.
Please repeat
If
it.
only he held up as well as
Are
Picard
you saying,
did.
my part, are
grumbling.
you saying that you saw 3 red stains on the morning of June 14th?
Overruled.
No, I'm not saying that.
Are you saying you saw 2 red stains?
I do remember that there was either a stain or 2 stains that were very light along the sill area that I did not collect.
Can you point out for us, using the Elmo, the area in this picture where you claim to have seen some red stains on the morning of June 14th?
Throwing Vulcan gang signs on my stream.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Sustained.
I used to
you
do
were
it backwards.
Making
When I
reference
was a beginner
before
junkie, I was like,
answering my question, you were looking towards the monitor and indicating something about an area, were you not?
I was trying to find some detail in the photograph that could help me, but
Yeah, it was the Cardassians.
oh my God, you're right. It was the Cardassians. I was cracking up that entire episode. Thank you. It was the Cardassians.
And see, Robert and Chloe and Kim and all these, they breed an entire race of people in the future.
How perfect is that? Oh my God. I love the tie-in. Thank you, Donald. Live long and prosper. Anyway, shall we continue?
Yeah. Well, it's just, you know, what, 500 years of evolution. The ass went up into the neck and shoulder area. That's all.
I just remember watching that episode and being like, you know, because some of the lines are hilarious. It's just like, the Cardassians have a very social, a very complex social order that they must, you know, aspire to within their race. It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, wow. We've got 5 more minutes. Let's see how much of this we can get through.
All right.
We're doing pretty good. We're about 50% talk, 50% watch. That's much better than my usual average. It's about 70% talk and 30%. But while we've got the last 5 minutes, I just want to welcome. We've got up to 453 people here. That's much better than we started out with. So
Fabulous.
welcome you 453 people that are here.
Welcome.
And if this is your first time doing it, this is what we're doing. We're going through some of the testimony of the OJ Simpson trial to show you extraordinary legal arguments from brilliant legal minds. But I'm going to ask you all to do me a favor. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like button. Let's get the word out to YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed, I would be deeply honored if you would subscribe to me. And about 5 minutes from now, we're going to leave this 28-year-old trial and go to the new trial of Zachariah Anderson, who's being charged with murder in a weird, wild, and wacky case. That'll be starting, like I said, in about 4 minutes. We'll go over there. So in the meantime, please hit like and please hit subscribe. And then make sure you take our like and subscribe poll. Let's do that in the next 20 seconds or so, because I'm going to shut the poll down as we speak. So like and subscribe while I'm reading this. This is my last chance to get ahead in life. All right. Who won the poll? I stabbed the like and subscribe button. 12% of you said because Ito was no problem, man. Sorry, that was really lame. 17% of you said for the sheck of it. 20% of you said because it would be a crime not to, and leading by an extraordinarily wide margin, with 51% of the vote, a majority, I stabbed the like and subscribe button for the fun of it. There you go. That's the end of that poll. Oh, and a super chat. Low views, but we are loyal. It was just weird today. I don't think people got the notification, but let's make good use of our last 4 minutes.
Really
Thank you, Marv White, by the way.
looks fairly washed out to me.
Well,
Just
can
like
you
your
just
career. Ha,
show
ha,
us
ha.
the area where you're claiming to have seen red stains on the morning of June 14th?
Should rephrase the question, please.
Could you show us the area in this photograph
Don't show us your
where you
area.
saw red stains on the morning of June 14th?
I'll have to make several assumptions in doing so. In the photograph.
Well, does this photograph depict the area?
It does, but it does not show sufficient detail for me to point out specific areas.
Well, can you just direct the pointer to the area as best you can?
Point
As
to your
best
area,
I can,
Mr.
making
Fung.
some assumptions.
At this point, there's no foundation for the witness's testimony.
Oh, he said it depicts the area.
Speculation.
Go ahead.
Up higher. Okay, slowly to the right. Down lower, slowly to the right. A little higher in that area there.
Is he getting a massage or what?
Can we? Can you
my
direct
back.
it in a circle? How far did they
That's fine.
extend?
No, that's not the area I indicated.
Okay. Let's try again.
Right? Okay, a little lower there.
What are we
Nope.
talking about, Duke
Little higher.
Leto?
Okay,
If we're
now
talking about
just
Duke
maybe,
Leto, then you win,
a little bit
Wolfman.
more to your left. A little bit more to the right. Okay, now you're covering it. That's just about the area.
Okay. Can we print that and make that defendant's next in order?
1098. 1098, Mrs. Robertson? 1098, next in order defense. Thank you.
All right. Well, this is a perfectly good time to end this stream between evidence thing. Donald Gooch says, "Oh shit, we going Dune up in here?" Hey, he brought up Battle Pug, so I was thinking it was Duke Leto from the '84 David Lynch version of Dune, but I could be wrong.
Dune is the
Definitely-
only David Lynch movie I haven't seen.
Shame on you.
I know.
Add that to the list, especially if you like Dune. If you don't care about Dune, then don't.
Well, I don't know whether I like Dune or not because I haven't seen either version or read the book. So
All right, then never mind. Anywho,
I'll be watching it eventually.
So here we are. Now we'll wrap up this stream here. Now I got to do my usual thing. This is how I timestamp it. I do a manual timestamp. All right, this is 3W12 Dennis Fung Part 9, 1 hour 20 minutes and 32 seconds in. All right, so now I'll just go back next week. I'll look back at this and go, aha, that's where we were.
How many parts do they have? This is part 9 out of
A lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like
This is the beginning of
73.
day 3 out of 8.5 days. So we've probably got another 5 or 6 months with Dennis Fung that we can milk it for.
I'm into it. I'm not going anywhere.
All right, what's going to happen now is Chandler and I are going to head on over to the Zachariah Anderson trial,
Yes, we are.
and we're going to talk about that. We'll give you like a 30-minute run up to the trial that should start at the top of the hour, but it usually starts about 10 or 12 minutes after. So we'll have fun with that. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Valhalla Wait 7777. All right, whatevs. I've lost the chat. Doesn't pay any attention to me. Is that the guy that shakes hands with both legal? No, he only shook hands with the defense. He shook hands. He actually hugged one of the guys. He got off the stands and shook the defense team's hand.
Did he really hug them?
He hugged one of them. He like put his shoulder around one. I can't remember who it was.
Weird.
Yes, Patrick Stewart was in Dune. He played Gurney Halleck in the 84 version.
I love Sir Patrick Stewart. I will watch him in anything.
Oh, all right, we got to wrap this up. Otherwise, I'll be talking for another 6 hours about things. I got to rein in my ADHD here.
You
All
came
right,
in for OJ. You got Star Trek. Sorry.
Yeah, and then we Dune and et cetera, et cetera. I almost went Excalibur too, but anyway. Thank you all for being here. Join us next week for another edition of Thursday OJ Simpson Redux. And if Chandler Remington sends me a picture of her, we'll add her to the thumbnail. She's noticeably absent from the thumbnail.
I'd love to be on the thumbnail. I'd be honored
there
to be
you
on
go.
the thumbnail. That would be
There
fabulous.
you go. And you know what to do. Mods, thank you for being here. We'll see you over on the flip side. Now, this should, again, automatically, people should be redirected to my next stream. It may happen, it may not. If it doesn't, go up to the little box and click on that. That'll appear saying there's something happening over on Legal Vices. If that doesn't work, just figure it out and come on over and get there for the Zachariah Anderson trial. We'll catch you up. We'll bring you up to speed on that. It's going to take me about 3 or 4 minutes to get there. So let everybody in chat know that I'll be there as soon as possible. Gotta get things ready for that stream and start it on up. So I will see you in a couple of minutes. Thank you everyone for the super chats, for the subscriptions, for everything that went down. See you on the flip side. Oh my God, I just about forgot to read the last super chat of the day. Can we call you Remy or just Chandler?
If you like, but my name is Chandler. You are as long as we don't venture into friends related nicknames, which I know is just going to get me a spur of friends related nicknames. But yes, you can call me Remy if you want to.
All right. There. And on that note, we will end this stream. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in a minute over on the other stream. Law Racks out.